Hello and welcome back to this week's News Roundup. I am your host, Havanka, here to cover the top 5 news articles of the week. Let's begin. Number 5. EU makes draft law to monitor all message content on users' devices. A new draft law dubbed Chat Control by the European Union Commission will allow lawmakers to use AI-based monitoring, bulk intercepting, and scanning of all messages and images directly on citizens' devices. Numerous civil society organizations, including the European Digital Rights and the Electronic Frontier Foundation, have all been raising awareness about this invasive legislation. Member of European Parliament Patrick Breyer described the EU's legislation as the, quote, first step in the direction of a Chinese-style surveillance state, end quote. This is absolutely crazy. These European lawmakers think this law is necessary to end child exploitation. They basically think child pornography will stop if they have control over your devices, over your phones. I mean, this law, I believe, they're trying to pass to control and silence people's opinions, beliefs, and voices that run contrary to their progressive agenda. This is going to be used to silence political opponents, to silence freedom fighters. I mean, it's ironic too, because these European lawmakers, they say they want to end child exploitation when they themselves are exploiting children, European children predominantly, by promoting the perverse LGBTQ ideology within the school systems. They share and show child pornography in the classrooms and how children should touch themselves and all this perversion. And yet they're using this law and claiming that this is going to end child exploitation. I mean, these people are sick. They're absolutely sick. And I encourage people to look into this law. It's called the Chat Control by the European Union Commission. And it'll give them absolute power over people's personal devices, phones, laptops, all that stuff. Number 4, DOJ challenges Alabama law that will prohibit gender transition treatments for those under 19. The U.S. Department of Justice is challenging an Alabama law that will ban puberty blockers, gender reassignment surgeries, and gender transition hormones to people younger than 19 years old. The DOJ's press release noted, quote, the United States complaint alleges that the new law's felony ban on providing certain medically necessary care to transgender minors violates the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. The department is also asking the court to issue an immediate order to prevent the law from going into effect, end quote. The one department that is supposed to uphold and execute justice is challenging a just law. It's backwards. It doesn't make any sense. This law protects children from evil doctors who would destroy their identity simply because a boy may feel like he's a girl, or a girl may feel like she's a boy for a short period of time. You know how kids are. Or because, the culture or certain parents are indoctrinating or pushing this twisted ideology on their kids. Telling their boy that they're a girl or vice versa. Transgenderism is not a reflection of reality. It's the result of believing in lies. This law does not violate the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. It actually validates it because the state of Alabama is protecting children's life and liberty. I encourage you, viewers out there, go and look up the 14th Amendment and the Equal Protection Clause. And tell me if, not me, but tell yourself if this is in violation, if the Alabama law is in violation of that. You will find that it is not. Number 3, MSNBC guest jokes that she'd, quote, joyfully abort our fetus, end quote, in response to SCOTUS draft leak. During a panel discussion on MSNBC, comedian Lori Kilmartin said she'd like to, quote, make sweet love, end quote, to the Supreme Court leaker, adding that if this person is discovered to be a Republican, she'd, quote, joyfully abort our fetus and let them know, end quote. MSNBC host Eamon Mehoyeldin, I don't know if I pronounced that right, and other panelists broke down laughing at the joke as they continued to talk about the Supreme Court draft opinion that would uphold Mississippi's 15-week abortion ban and overturn Roe v. Wade. I mean, this one really disturbed me, I'm not going to lie. You guys need to see this for yourself, so here it is.
I would like to find out who the leaker is so I could make sweet love to that person, because that person is a hero to me. Okay? And if the leaker, a lot of people are saying it could be a conservative, if the leaker is a Republican, and if I get pregnant during our lovemaking, I will joyfully abort our fetus and let them know. I don't know if that answered your question.
That was said on a mainstream media platform. Western decadence has birthed these kind of moral monsters. But what bothers me the most is how bold she was saying all of that. If evil is this bold, how much bolder should righteousness be? Evil should fear righteousness. That lady and people like her should not feel comfortable uttering those kind of words, especially on public TV in a so-called Christian nation. If evil is to be driven out of the land, then the fear of the Lord needs to be placed back in it. And that lady definitely needs an encounter with the Lord, because she needs to fear the Lord. Number 2, legislation intended to protect abortion blocked by Senate Republicans. On Wednesday, legislation intended to protect abortion was blocked by Republican senators ahead of a possible ruling this summer striking down the Roe v. Wade decision. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said, quote, our Democratic colleagues want to vote for abortion on demand through all 9 months, until the moment before a baby is born. A failed show vote that will only prove their own extremism, end quote. The battle lines in the Senate over abortion rights have been clear for years, but a leaked Supreme Court draft reported by Politico reignited a firestorm on Capitol Hill. It's funny, Mitch McConnell, he has no problem speaking out against abortion. But, when it comes to election integrity and voter fraud and a stolen election, he's silent. He actually sides with the Democrats. But anyway, I digress on that point. This bill the Democrats tried to pass, they would have federalized abortions, and they would have allowed it so that the mother could abort her child up to 9 months, like right before the baby's born. This is like just straight up murder. It's that extreme. So thank God that this bill was voted down, even though it was barely. I believe the vote was 49-51, which is unbelievable. And number 1, Satanic Temple demands exception for abortion rituals. The Satanic Temple said its adherents should be permitted religious exemptions to perform religious abortion rituals in states that have enacted bans to the procedure. The Satanic Temple said in a statement, quote, in states that outlaw abortion but grant exceptions for instances of incest and rape, members should be permitted a religious exemption to perform the Satanic Temple's religious abortion ritual, end quote. The Satanic Temple's argument was that if abortion is a religious ritual, then the state could not legally intervene or burden patients with prerequisites. Again, Western decadence has birthed moral anarchy. We have allowed evil to become emboldened. And by we, I am saying the church, Christians. We have failed to address these issues. We've failed to address abortion, LGBTQ. We have stayed in the four walls of the church while these evils have risen up and taken power. But it's time, for us as Christians in the church to retake the land. Now let's break this down. Let's break the Satanic Temple thing down. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, ritual, the word ritual, is defined as a ceremonial act in accordance with religious law. Well, what's the religion? It's Satanism. What does Satan require? What acts does he require in his religion? Sacrifice. Merriam-Webster defines sacrifice as an act of offering to a deity something precious, especially the killing of a victim on an altar. So the left and, members of the Satanic Temple, I think they kind of find themselves in a pickle here. If the fetus is a life, then you can't abort it for ritual purposes because that would be murder. That would be, killing a human being, which is against the law. But if it's not a life, then why use a fetus for ritual purposes? I mean, what good is a non-life clump of cells going to do for Satan, for your God? If it's something that's not alive, why does it have to be a fetus? Why can't it be a chunk of wood or something that's not living that's used for the ritual? I don't know. I don't know if people are following this logic here. But, obviously these are rhetorical questions. We know that they know that this is a life and that they're willing to kill it for Satan, for their God, because they serve Satan. And that's what he demands. So I just want to say this evil is real. It's always been real. And we as Christians need to understand this. We need to, get this to click in our minds that this evil is out there. It's emboldened. It's rising. And we as the church need to fight back. We are called to fight back against evil. We are called to eliminate evil. Now, again, we love the person, but we hate the sin. We hate the evil. There's a difference. We're supposed to love these members of the Satanic Temple. Absolutely. But we don't love their sin. We don't love their evil. Absolutely not. So I encourage you all, pray for the sinner, but fight back against the sin. That will end this week's news roundup. I hope you all enjoyed. If you wish to stay informed on current events, you can visit our website at morningstarjournal.com. We have social media. I encourage you all to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Getter, and Telegram at Morningstar Journal News. You can subscribe to our YouTube and Rumble page again at Morningstar Journal News. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for next week's News Roundup.